Hollow Knight is a 2017 game developed by Team Cherry that I only got around to playing recently. I was busy. It's a game that throws you in with very little tutorial, and what it does give you just isn't much. You're left to explore Hallownest for yourself and on your own with very little in the way of companions. A stag from the station, a snail shaman, the map maker, or Jearl, another bug on a journey, trying to figure out what he's doing and where he's going. It's a game about purpose, among other things. It's a game that is meticulously planned out, with a world full of history and lore. Hollow Knight did something that only one other game has gotten me to do: get 100% completion. The game fascinated me with its seemingly limitless world for you to explore and its mechanics, which seem simple at first, but quickly turn into a complex machine of strategies, which must be combined to be some of the hardest bosses I've ever fought in a video game. It's a game that seems simple on the surface, but quickly unveils an underground world full of winding passages, interesting characters, and a kingdom lost to time. When you first enter Hollow Knight, you're thrown into King's Pass, though you don't know that's what it's called yet. There's the only tutorial the game gives, and it's nothing. Here's how you heal. Figure the rest out yourself. Your eyes are quickly directed up to the top left, with 5 masks that serve as your health, an orb that fills up with soul, the game's mana, and the currency of the game, Geo. Soon after, you're introduced to the game's tight platforming, with the strange lack of momentum that takes some getting used to. As you explore, you find enemies that you must figure out how to kill, or at the very least, avoid. The entire area is used as a tutorial, and is a way to get the player adapted to what the game is like. This area serves as a shift from maybe a more fluid platformer to one with tighter controls and more penalty for taking damage. During this time, you may also find the lifeblood, which increases your mask size temporarily. Another way the game shows, and doesn't tell, how to play the game. The game also does this with the early game geodeposits that you may have found earlier. Out of curiosity, you hit the deposit, which then rewards you with geo. Then, you fall. The ground you were walking on collapses and you fall into this pit, and now you must get back up by jumping over the spikes to get to the next platform. Another way the game gets you used to its different platforming. Then, you can go down into one of the many secret areas of the game, where you find yet another geodeposit waiting for you, and also some spikes that seem impassable, until you learn how to hop over them. Following the tunnel, you find what may be your first charm, the Fury of the Fallen. The game then tells you that you may equip these at a bench, one of the few things it outright tells you how to do. As you continue to follow the tunnel, you find yourself at an earlier part of King's Pass, which you soon follow back to where you were. You platform over the spikes again, and this time go upwards, breaking a wooden beam to return to the top level. You then go right to break a larger version of the doors you've seen before, and the camera cuts to the door exploding on the other side. You enter the surface of Hallownest, and you near the fading town, Dirtmouth. Dirtmouth serves as a sort of hub for the rest of the game. It's where most of the shops are located, there's a stag station, it's your main entrance into the underground, and it's where Zote the Mighty lives, so I'd want to use it as a hub too. However, at the beginning of the game, it's empty. Well, almost empty. The only citizen left is Elderbug, saying how his town has fallen quiet, how all of his citizens have gone down in the well, into the caverns below. He continues by telling you of a great kingdom that used to be beneath the town and how now it's fallen to ruin. Elderbug then gives the first hint of the infection by saying, well, watch out, it's a sickly air that fills that place. Creatures turn mad and travelers are robbed of their memories. Perhaps dreams aren't such a great thing after all. Here, Elderbug gives the first hint of the infection, the main antagonist of the game. But it obviously isn't the last time it's mentioned. Almost every NPC you talk to references the infection or the fallen kingdom in some way. This conversation also sets up the well, your gateway into the vast underground of Hallownest. Simply jumping into it, as many have before according to Elderbug, will grant you access to the rest of the world, but we'll get to that. Elderbug is the only one left in Dirtmouth, until you find some other remaining citizens throughout the rest of Hallownest. They're the ones who went down the well, and who Elderbug is presuming to have turned mad and been robbed of their memories. At this point in the game, Elderbug has lost all hope that his town is ever going to be populated again, all because of the allure of the aforementioned Fallen Kingdom. One of these citizens you have to find is Cornifer, their cartographer. In every area, you have to buy a map before you can see where you're going. The key is that he doesn't just have the map at the entrance, you have to find him. The time before you find him is some of the scariest times, because if you die, you're not sure if you'll be able to make it back to where you were. Your map also only updates when you sit at a bench, which is the game's representation of a save point. When you buy a map from Cornifer, it isn't finished, but has some major points outlined. This lets the game still have a sense of exploration to it, despite the fact that you now have a map. Once you speak to Cornifer, it unlocks his wife Zelda's shop, where she sells add-ons to your map, including the quill that you need to be able to update your map. She also sells one of the game's first charms, provided you didn't pick up the Fury of the Fallen earlier, the Wayward Compass, which reveals your location on the map. This is probably the most useful charm in the game, because without it, you need a very good sense of direction, which I don't have. She also sells you some pins for your map, which are the locations of benches, hot springs, stag stations, and other shops in Hallownest. You may also purchase maps from her if you've completed any area without finding Cornifer and purchasing the map from him. These maps are completely filled out and require no amending, but they come at a higher price. The Hollow Knight map system is perfect for the type of game it is. It encourages exploration while still giving the player some sort of guidance on where to go. Without it, so many of the areas would either go unexplored or the secret areas wouldn't be secret at all. It is the perfect balance between exploration and guidance. The other shopkeeper in Dirtmouth is named Sly, and I'm not going to go too in depth about him as not to spoil too much, but you also find him deeper in Hallownest, and he soon comes back to Dirtmouth to peddle his wares. He sells you charms, health and soul expansions, and eggs. Sly is an example of someone who is lost to the infection. When you first find him, he says, "What a strange dream to have led me down here. If you hadn't found me, I don't think I ever would have woken," which speaks to the power the infection has over the bugs in Hallownest. Without the night awakening Sly, he may have stayed where he was forever. There's also a stag station in Dirtmouth, which serves as the fast travel gate to lower areas in Hallownest, but we will get to those and the aforementioned eggs later. The final citizen of Dirtmouth worth talking about is Zoth the Mighty, but he needs like a 30-minute video on his own, so we're not going to discuss him here. One day, my Grey Prince. One day. The first time you die in Hollow Knight is a moment of confusion, because you respawn with a broken soul vessel and no geo. Apart from a moment of confusion, it's also a moment of panic, but I digress. Whenever you die in Hollow Knight, you have to go retrieve your shade, and with it, the other half of your soul vessel and all of your geo. This is my favorite mechanic in this game. It's not a complete restart, but death has consequences. The system does have some drawbacks, because what if you can't get to your shade because it's a difficult area that once you go in you can't escape? That means it's egg time! I just yelled that and forgot that my windows were open, so the entire neighborhood just heard me scream that it's egg time. Great. Go back and feed Gigi one of those eggs you got from Sly or from anywhere else exploring, and she will summon your shade for you to reclaim with no penalty, apart from the egg. This is such a well done mechanic simply because of the fear that grips you that you might lose everything that you've spent all your time gaining. It's amazingly done. You defeat your shade in just a couple of hits and restore all of your geo and repair your soul vessel. But if you die before you reclaim your shade, then your first shade and everything with it is gone forever. Then you must kill your second shade to reclaim your soul vessel. Fast travel is a necessity in any game that promotes exploration, but how it's done can very easily change from game to game. Some games let you do it at any time, from any point. Hollow Knight lets you travel from one stag station to another with a small fee the first time to unlock the station, but no fee ever again. He asks you to keep opening stations so that maybe one day he can remember his home. It's a terribly sad story, but it's one that emphasizes what's happened since the kingdom fell. Hallownest has become a shell of its former self. From a gameplay standpoint, the stations must be unlocked so that you can travel quickly all across the world. But there are signs pointing to them from a couple rooms away. Once a station's unlocked, it's open forever and may be traveled to or from at any point. The last stag is a character. He has a story, and this shows the passion that Team Cherry has put into this game. Every part of it. The fast travel has a story behind it. Even the spells you get in the game have names and lore behind them. To heal yourself, you must focus. Your projectile attack is a vengeful spirit. There's so much to this game. Every character and item has lore behind it, and every character and item has passion behind it. I can't describe everything in this game without spoiling it, but just know that Hollow Knight is a game built on passion and on unity. It's a hand-drawn game that excels where many other games fall short. Hollow Knight is a game full of passion. Better yet, Hollow Knight is a game full of soul. It's a game that I obsessed over and 100%ed in 2 weeks, something that, as I mentioned before, only one other game has gotten me to do. It's a game that every second of is fun, and none of it feels like a waste of time, however many times I died on a boss fight. Every boss fight is perfect for where you are in the game, and it makes you want to beat the boss and complete the game. Every boss except the Watcher Knights. I hate those things. They are single-handedly stopping me from speedrunning this game, and I never want to deal with them again. Thanks for watching.